It took a very furious, dramatic, and oftentimes very stressful fourth quarter for the Toronto Raptors to beat the Washington Wizards 108-98 to take a 3-2 series lead. DeMar DeRozan led both teams with 32 points, but it was DeLon Wright who was the X factor. And this one, at least late in the game, he had 18 points, 11 of which were in the fourth quarter.
And DeLon, when he plays aggressively and assertively and he shoots the ball, it kind of gives us different spacing.
In the locker room, DeLon mentioned that tomorrow will be his birthday. However, he says he doesn't want a game ball or a celebration. He just wants to get that W on the road in Washington, and they'll have a chance to do that and punch their ticket to the next round on Friday. Mark, Justin, this is what all the commotion is about. The 108th Yates Cup. Isn't she glorious? Both teams have been battling for this all year long, and despite leading the entire country in points scored, Western head coach Greg Marshall, along with Guelph Griffins head coach Stu Lang, believe that this final is going to be a defensive affair. Now, speaking of defense, I spoke with fifth-year starter John Rush with the Griffins, and he told me this could very well be his very last game, and he hopes to be balling out throughout the afternoon. He wants his defense to be the hammer, not the nail. John, I know you're being a classy individual, doing a lot of handshakes here, but let's talk real quick. Best defensive player in the province now, 2015 Yates Cup champion. So you told me this could be your very last game. Not so fast.
No, it's not. It's not my last game, and I'm pretty happy about that. You know, it's a great way to end my the Ontario season. So now we're looking on to the next game.
You told us a couple days ago you wanted to be the hammer, not the nail. You lived up to that, sir.
You know, it's just yeah, that's just what we did, you know.
I literally have the best seat in the house right now for the next 15 minutes or so before the Blue Jays PR kicks us off. As you can see behind me here, the Boston Red Sox are taking part in batting practice before the Blue Jays home opener here at the Rogers Center. Marcus Stroman is on the mound, and he is one special player. Now, he wrote a first-hand essay, a love letter to the city of Toronto, in a website called the Players Tribune, which is founded by Derek Jeter, the former Yankee great. And in it, he says Toronto is a baseball city. While it's emotional and heartfelt and very nice, I gotta say, he was a little off. You see, Canada is turning into a baseball country, and the proof is in the stands here this evening. Gather around any Jays fans and you'll overhear this ongoing debate. Should the Jays call up superstar prospect Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to the struggling big club? With a 7-15 record so far this month, some feel that the 19-year-old phenom could add a spark, while others feel it's just way too soon. Now, fueling the former's argument is yesterday's article in Sports Illustrated calling Guerrero the possible, quote, future of baseball. Moments after DeMar DeRozan was traded, the words cold and snake were thrown around on social media by some NBA players. But today, Raptors president Masai Ujiri seemed like none of those things. In fact, he looked very human. Just 2 hours after stepping off a plane from Kenya, Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri started his newser on a very Canadian note by saying sorry.
I apologize to DeMar DeRozan for maybe a gap of miscommunication. At the time, we were fourth on the ranks of trying to get anything done.
But eventually, something did get done. The Ujiri traded the lifelong Raptor to San Antonio for Kawhi Leonard. And although DeRozan was beloved, after yet another frustrating playoff exit, Ujiri says he'd had enough.
When I took the job, I could have let the coach go. I could have traded players, but we kept giving a chance and giving a chance. And at some point, you know, like we have to do something different.
And Leonard is different in the best way possible. When healthy, he's regarded as one of the top players in the league.
No-nonsense basketball player that plays on both sides of the floor and produces a championship player.
The term, it's a business, comes up a lot. However, earlier today, Masai Ujiri showed his human side a lot, talking about the pressure that he goes through personally after going through a deal like this.
There's also the human side of this business, and that's the part I really struggle with the most, and that's what's most difficult.
Especially when business interferes with friendships on the team. Have you heard from Kyle Lowry at all since all these moves have been made?
I haven't talked to Kyle. I'm sure Kyle is, I'm sure this is hard on him. One of his best friends in the world, you know, like they did everything together. It was the dynamic duo of the Toronto Raptors for years.
It appears Ujiri's heartfelt words didn't sit well with now former Raptor DeMar DeRozan. Moments after the newser, DeRozan Instagrammed this facepalm emoji over a black background. All right, now don't think for a second that these feelings that Masai put out to the reporters is going to really get in his way and he needs to make a deal to make his team better. He said that if someone comes up with a trade proposition to his team and it'll actually help them win more games next year, he will not hesitate.